All that out of the way, welcome along, everyone. Lovely to have you here, and welcome to our guest this week. Where has it gone? There we go. It's only Kevin Hayes, everyone. Welcome along, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. We're, like I say, continuing our mid 2010s icon arc. Kevin Hayes. You'll know him from the side of all the Fusion boxes a few years back. When I first bought the store, Kevin, it was everything Fusion had your face on it. Everything. I saw you everywhere.
I mean, I think that was pretty standard. Like, I don't know how standard it is now, but like Felix Motz and I being just like on every single box that
Yeah, that was
what
it.
was it?
That was the trilogy.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. So, Kevin, we're gonna talk about a few things today, everyone. So just so you know what's coming up, we are gonna talk about your career, the past, present, and future. We are gonna talk about World Championships, and we're gonna talk about All Stars as well. Noodle in the chat is demanding that you bring back Tuesday tips. So add that to your list.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little outdated, I'll say.
But let's get into it. So, I had this panic with Felix a couple of weeks back, and I explained to you off air. There is no easy way to preempt this or to introduce this section, but I'm interested. What is life like for you I'm going to say post career, post like competitive career? You know, give us the rundown. I suppose because you said in some chats we had leading up to this. You've mentioned it as like retiring from being a pro and then completely stepping back for a bit. To coming back into it. So yeah, just tell us the story of what's been happening since your competitive days.
Yeah, I mean, pro career essentially ended at that Vancouver comp after 2019 Worlds. I think like that was, I mean, it was time, and it was the plan after 2019 Worlds. I practiced was the last competition I practiced for with the intent to win, and I kind of only did that because I felt like I owed it to myself because there's only, I mean, Max will be, this Worlds is the third time ever someone's had a chance to go for, wait, no, Max is up for three. Never mind. No, there's only been twice ever where someone's been in a final going for a four-peat. And so 2019 Worlds was my attempt. And so I definitely like felt like I needed to, and I was happy I did it. But yeah, so after that, I did one more comp, that Vancouver comp, where I just missed world record single, which is a bummer. But after that, I don't think I did a session for like 2.5 years.
Whoa.
Things worked out pretty well. Yeah, timing worked out pretty well with COVID because 2019 ended and I definitely didn't do anything in that fall. And then COVID started and I didn't even do a session until it was so long because I moved to Boston. Like, I mean, a lot of things happened in my life. Like, I got a dog. I like 2019, I stopped cubing. Gus. Fall of 2020, I moved to Boston. Fall August 2021. I think I probably did my first session in winter of 2022, like January or February 2022. So like a full 2.5 years without like, maybe I picked up the cube while I was working and did a couple random solves one off. I mean, that always happens, but like I legitimately didn't do a practice session for 2.5 years. And so
That's
that
insane.
was like super needed for me.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
It's fascinating that you did the exact opposite of most of the world because COVID was like a big boost for cubing. People were indoors, sales went up, people were looking for things to do, people were deep diving on YouTube, you know, everyone's YouTube views were going up. But that just coincided with it when you were like, I need to chill for a bit. I need to take a break.
yeah, I mean that's a pretty minor way of putting it, honestly. Because like, I mean, I'll to put it bluntly, I hated cubing. It was awful. I like
Whoa.
absolutely despised it. Like, it's a pretty common story with like I don't think it's as common in the cubing community, but you see it with like a lot of high profile athletes where like it just becomes your entire life and there's so much pressure and like mostly from yourself, but just like external pressure as well to do well. Like you were so good and you tied like your entire self worth to like your competition results. And so like after Australia, like Australia, I went in knowing this was the last time I was gonna grind super hard with the intent to like win. Like I mean, I was in Australia to win. Like I was not there. I got second, but which was fine. But like I was not there saying like let's make sure we get second. It was like I'm here to win. Um, and like that was I'm glad I did it, but at the same time it was so different where like the previous times it was like I'm just practicing because I wanted to, and like a large part of that is I wanted to win, but I also wanted to practice. And this time like I just didn't want to practice at all, but like I just wanted to win, so I practiced anyways. And it's very you get a lot less returns for sure on your practice, but then like it is just mentally just like so taxing. And then after especially after that Vancouver comp where like I missed that world record. I was like, I hate this. Like, I need to stop.
I think I'm missing some context on that. If it's not too painful to go into, what was the situation at the Vancouver comp with the world record?
Oh yeah, so this was after Worlds and Nats. There was like one more comp in Vancouver. I think there's one or two rounds of big cubes. I forget, but I'm still pretty good this time. Like Max is definitely better than me, but like world record is single is slow. It's 114.1. And I get a 114.2 or like it's like 113. I don't know. I get like a 114 flat and I miss world record by like a quarter of a second. And miss I like tried to recognize the COLL and then I didn't do it at all. And I like did a U4 on OLL. And I'm just like if I just didn't even bother and just did the normal OLL. But so that was kind of like that one really hurt because it would have been sick to have my last world record like be 6x6 single, which was the thing I was always good at, and like to know I would have like been for sure. Obviously, that was the last record. So, but that happens. Do you go out the same way as you go in? You know, 6x6 world record single fail.
Oh,
First notable moment in my career, and the last one as well.
oh wow. I can totally relate to what you're talking about in terms of like it being your whole identity, your whole thing. So I was my job before I moved to New Zealand, I was a drummer, I was a musician. And it was like, I'd been a drummer since I was 12, you know, and it had been, you know, the best part of 25, 26 years. No, wait, that's not right. 15 or 16 years. That had been all I was. I was a drummer. And when I moved here, I made a conscious decision to not do that anymore. And it was very, very taxing mentally. Because you go through a lot of like, well, if I'm not this, then what am I? You know, like.
Oh, completely.
So how did you navigate that? Like you said, you became a dog dad around then. Where did your identity like lead you, or have you ever felt like you're not a cuber anymore? I mean, obviously you're back in it now, but at any point in that gap, did you feel like I'm done, I'm gonna be something else now, I'm gonna be Kevin the something? I don't know what you do for work, so I don't know what your sort of background is or training or whatever, but where did that take you?
Yeah, well, I do software. I work at Google.
Oh, do you?
It's not no complaints. But yeah, like I guess I definitely didn't like think I wasn't a cuber at all, but like I mean, it was kind of a big shift that like really started before 2019, where like it's interesting where because my identity wasn't even like being a cuber. It was like I wrapped up so much of my identity around like being the best. It was like I'm because I was like, oh, it wasn't I don't just cube, like I'm the best at it. And so
Yeah.
like you don't have as much control over that as you would like. And so like it's very, very rare to be like, okay, well I'm done being the best now, I'm gonna quit. Versus like Max just starts coming up and like his like improvement curve was so crazy that like it just happened like so fast. Like I was very I wasn't 5x5, me being bad at 5x5 was so fast. I remember because like I remember like in 2017 April, I was like ranked two and like third place in the world was like 4 seconds behind me, and I got fourth at Worlds that summer. And I
Mm.
was like, I had like it was like 3 months, like it was crazy. So like 6x6 and seven was just it took like it wasn't quite as fast, but it was still like over the course of like six or 8 months, like okay, Max is just a little bit slower than me. Okay, he's the same speed as me, and now he's like so much faster than me. It's like not even possible to catch up. So it's like very quick, and so like that was kind of the first beginning of like having to like reconcile like my identity with like cubing and like what am I doing. And so like I think the hard cut after Australia to like stop was really helpful. Where like I felt more comfortable like after like coming back because NAC 22 was my first comp back, and like I felt like much more stable, especially because I moved to Boston. I had a lot of close friends there, and like I just been doing a lot more. I was very stable in my career, my life, like my social and like relationships. So like it felt a lot more comfortable to be like, okay, I'm gonna cube, but like it's not this all encompassing thing that's like the only thing I do. Like I stopped like meeting people and like people just instantly being like, well, this is the cube guy, because like that was my thing for like
Mm.
over a decade. And so like that became less of it became more of like a fun fact on my personality versus like the entire identity over like those 2.5 years. And so I guess I just like became a lot more comfortable like with the rest of my life as a whole without cubing. Like even if I didn't cube at all, which I hadn't, like I felt good versus like it was kind of mandatory, or else I felt like I didn't know why I was special or why like my life mattered.
Yeah, it's such a big thing to wrestle with. Such a huge thing.
Oh yeah, it's I mean it's pretty I feel like it's standard if well not standard, but like it's pretty relatable to anyone who like especially when you start like when I started I was a freshman in high school and I wasn't very social and didn't have a lot of friends, and like I was still figuring out how to like interact and stuff, and that was like kind of my even though it may not have been as necessary as I thought, but like my big hook into like kind of becoming like it was just as I like became more social and like kind of under like got friends and like got more footing like with my life, like cubing was kind of like a catalyst for that, and so like I kind of like really latched onto that a little more than I probably should have, but that happens.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. So, forgive me. Are you in Boston now, or are you in?
No, I live in Seattle, 10 minutes from the venue for Worlds.
Oh snap!
15,
Okay, nice.
15 is traffic, but you know.
That's great. Yeah, no, Chang was saying Boston represent in the chat there. So you're from Canada originally?
I was born in Canada, but I grew up in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, cool. Whew. Nearly. I don't want to mess that up. Okay, so yeah, you're just still on your sort of your pro arc. I did want to kind of touch on sponsors and things like that, and just like what it was like, I guess, being pro back in 2013. We said off air, you reckon that was your peak era. That was when you felt like you were hitting it, right? That's when you felt like you were peaking, or?
Well, I mean, it's not even a debate. Like 2013 was my best year.
Okay.
It was crazy because I only competed twice, but like it was Worlds and the weekend after, and like Worlds, I mean, I smacked everybody. Like it was crazy. Like 6x6, I won. Like everyone knew I was gonna win 6, and I won 6. But then 7, like everyone thought they were good at 7, and I was like, no, I'm actually the best at 7. And like, you can look at the results from that comp, and like everyone gets like a national record or a continental record in round 1. And I win by a little bit. And then in round 2 in finals, everyone gets a continental record again, but I get world record. And I'm like, sucks to suck.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah,
and then yeah, and like I also won 5x5 I won, which is the first round Felix ever lost at 5x5. And like so that was like I mean that day was crazy. Like that was I mean like I won 5, 6, and 7. So like that carries the entire year. And then 6x6 was the only cube I actually like the times were good at Worlds. I missed my world record by like a second, but like I was a lot faster than that. But I was like 6, I was just so far ahead. And then the next weekend I went to a comp and got the crazy 140 single, 151 average. Like when I got that 151 average, the average was faster than the second place single. And like
dang.
Yeah, so like that comp those 2 weekends back to back were just like that's all I did for the whole year, but like especially back then people didn't compete as much, but just like so clearly like that's the best year. Like 4 world records, 3 world records, 3 world titles, like and I'm ranked 1 in 6 and 7. and ranked 2 and 5 by landslides like for the whole year or so. I mean, that was and then I mean 2014 and 15 were very very good years as well, but like nothing like 2013 is just like you picture like your perfect competition in your head and it never actually happens except like in 2013 it kind of did.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. No, I'm just looking at the. I'm just going to bring this in front of your face on the stream now, but I'm just looking at the results here. At seeing some iconic names. 3x3 podium: Felix, then Mats Valk, then Sebastian Weyer.
Hey, I was in that. I was 6th seed at finals too.
You were 6th seed.
Yeah, I got 9.2 PR in semifinals. I was 6th place going into finals. Which
God,
is crazy.
Look at these averages. 8.1 was the winning average from Felix. That's crazy. And then 5x5. 5x5.
Winning average was low.
Yeah, it's wild. Kevin, then Felix, then Jung Ho Young in 5x5 from Korea. Then we've got a lot of Koreans on the big cubes in 2013 because 6x6, I'm seeing you're first, obviously. Yi Seung Woo, Republic of Korea with the NR in second place. Michael Halkjuk. And then you got 7, but you got 7x7 gold before Bance Barat. Felix Zemdegs in third. So yeah, that's like
that's 7x7.
Go on.
Oh, dude, that 7x7 round final is crazy because it's like I'm looking at the results too. It's world record, European record, oceanic record, national record, national record.
Yeah, that's stacked. That is absolutely stacked with records. I'm not sure if I'm able to fit that all on screen, but yeah, look at these results here for 7x7. That's intense.
The mini SS came out like a week before, or like a couple weeks before, and everyone switched. Except Felix actually didn't switch, which was odd, but like it helped everyone drop a little more time in 7. And so it was like everyone just went crazy at 7x7 that comp.
You were sponsored by the Cubicle as well, of course?
Yeah, so Cubicle and I signed in I think right after 2014 Nets. Yeah, we started right after 2014 Nets until the end of 2021. I forget.
Yeah, okay.
The sponsorships I didn't drop off until a little after because like your popularity, like when you get good, it takes a while to your popularity to follow. Your popularity is like shifted like 2 years behind your skill, and so like I stopped being good, but like it takes people a while to forget about you, and your sponsorship appeal is based on your popularity, really.
Yeah.
And so like I kept the sponsorships for a couple of years until they started. I think the end of 2021 they both expired, and that was it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, but yeah, I mean, you're exactly right because like Yujin still had some cubes to shift and they all had your little face on them. So that wasn't going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, they were like, can we have a bunch of boxes still. I was like, yeah, you can just don't print anymore. But like you can still, it's fine. You can print the rest of them.
So you don't have to answer this or you can answer it as mysteriously as you like. The Yujin deal with your face on all the boxes, that must have been worth a couple of bucks, eh? Was that was a good deal for you?
Yeah, it was good. I remember they were paying me like $15K a year. I'll just give you straight
Let's
numbers.
Go. That's
this is
great.
This is like, what year is this? This is 2017, 18?
Incredible.
2018. Wait, what year is Asian Champs? I got it Asian Champs. I mean, honestly, that's like not that much. It was like I like took a pay cut for that for sure. I think it was a little less the first year. I think the first year was only 10.
That's
I forget, but
it's big numbers for I don't think anyone. Well, I don't know because I don't know the ins and outs of everyone's deals or whatever like that. But that's a decent wicket for back then, you know.
It was good. It was okay for back then. Moyu definitely would have given me way more.
Right.
To be fair, at the time, like the way popularity worked at the time was very different. Like during the mid 2010s, it was Felix who was like 10 times more popular than Mots and me, and then me and Mots were like 10 times more popular than like whoever was fourth. It was like just the three of us. It was like so like it just like this is like not how it works anymore. But like the buyers were pretty like the buyers didn't have a lot of internet presence. Like they didn't put like because I randomly had my YouTube channel go like super viral as well, which like boosted me a huge amounts. Like it was kind of interesting to where like especially after like Vegas Worlds in 13, like it was us three and then a gap, and that kind of like us three like kind of carried on for the next few years. And so like at the time, Felix and Mods had just picked up their corp like their manufacturer sponsorships, and then I went to Asian Champs 2018 to shop around, and that's when I was talking to Moyu and Chi, and not Gan because they only had a 3x3, and that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah. You were 10 years too
And
early
like,
for that deal.
yeah, that's for sure. Well, I still would, they still
Well,
don't have a 6 or 7
yeah,
now.
maybe 15 years too early because we haven't even got
Yeah.
one yet.
And so yeah, I ended up signing with Yushin because I like their cubes. Like it was specifically like I took less like Moyu. I didn't like get final numbers from Moyu, but I told Moyu like was clearly gonna offer me a lot more.
Yeah,
But
right.
like I didn't, like I told myself I wasn't gonna like make decisions based on money. And so like I think if I had really gone for it, I could have made like 25 or 30 a year at that point, which I think for the time was very, very good.
Mm.
Which yeah, very like that. Like it just like I want to make sure like people know. Like I always like encourage like the cubers now to like get your money. Like you spend like so much time, so much effort working on this like your whole life. Like now that you've done, like never do not cube for money. That's crazy. Like there's not that much. Like that's like a ridiculous idea. But like now that you've already done the work, make sure you get paid. Like know how much you're worth and stuff. And so like
Yeah.
there is like a decent amount of money out there if you're like the super top guys. But um yeah, it quickly falls off because it's like all based on popularity.
Yeah. Now this is interesting and leads us into sort of talking about now, because yeah, we've had conversations with Dylan Miller about money and things, and there's always money is an interesting. It's I don't know why, but it seems to be quite divisive. And I'm not talking about specifically just manufacturer sponsorships, but I'm talking about just charging for services in cubing and charging for tickets to cubing events, and there's a lot of flux and change going on around that at the moment. People are trying new things, so I guess the link is to the question like what are you like? So you're a relatively OG cuber, you know what I mean? You represent an era that existed, and we're now in a very different one. When you're sitting back and looking at cubing now, what's your perspective on it? Do you like where it's gone? Do you have you noticed that it's changed in any way, or like what's your take on where we are now, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in kind of a transition period. I feel like as cubing as a whole, like after COVID, we kind of ran a few of these comps that are very similar. Like, I mean, like the big majors recently have been like exactly the same but nicer as like previously, and like we see now there's more like cubing has gotten too big for this like one size fits all type of like kind of mentality, and like we've already seen that be reflected in like the WCA where like years ago like people were extremely opposed to even like doing anything different, like treating top competitors differently in any way, good or bad, and like that's codified in the WCA as like different things now. Like it's specifically stated that like you can use frame by frame analysis for like top 50 solves or championship level solves. Like that is straight up like we're treating people differently, and like we definitely should. Like it's just like the concept of like doing that like didn't even exist. Like you get pushback on that, which I always thought was crazy. Like um years ago, and now like it's like and things move very slowly as you kind of expect from like the community's gotten pretty large, and like there's a lot of people like pretty stringent or like pretty just like kind of locked into like how they view cubing when they started. And so like I've kind of always been on the mindset of like wanting more and like wanting things to change and like kind of seeing like there's more to cubing, and like I like being on now as like a member of Cubing USA org team, like seeing like I mean now obviously like nationals is public and like we've announced it and stuff, like seeing like an event like nationals, which like I'm really excited about. I'm really curious like how it's gonna go.
Mm.
But like seeing the community response as like I feel like the most of the response was generally like cool idea, curious how it's gonna go. And I'm like, yeah, same. Like that's what we're also kind of curious how it's gonna go. Like
Yeah.
nothing to this scale has ever been done before, but like it's already up. Like everyone signed up. Like not everyone, but like you look at the psych sheets for that thing online, and like they're very fast. Like I didn't make 4x4. I've already gotten kicked out of 4x4. think 5x5 I might get kicked out of. Maybe I'll get a PR this summer, but we'll see. And so like I see the community generally, it seems like we want, like they're aware that like the next step is obviously like more spectator appeal, more spectator appeal, like more like things that are specifically catered to like the very top competitors, and like kind of the harder part that like you alluded to already, that like what's naturally that comes along with that is like how do you make these things, and like money is obviously like involved by like mandatory, like you have to pay a production company to do the stream. You have to pay a venue. Like we're putting like there's a lot of money for a low number of competitors at these things, and like it's I think like I'm kind of curious how like this will go. Like I'm really excited about it, and I hope it like all works out. And like I like running these. I'm like really excited to run these events,
Mm.
and like I'm in like the very cautious optimism side, and then I do think it's a little strange, like acting like money being involved and people wanting to make money off of this thing being like inherently a bad thing. I think is kind of crazy because like pro leagues exist. Like there's just like universal truth that like pro leagues existing fosters a stronger like casual viewer, like casual um hobbyist base. Like USA Swimming anticipates like a huge jump in membership every 4 years after the Olympics because of like the Olympic boost and people see things on TV. Like you like wonder why like US like the US soccer teams aren't quite as good because like the pro league, like everyone plays football or baseball, like all the really good athletes do because that's what you see on TV. Like I think it's pretty like a ubiquitous feeling that like you've seen like these pro leagues on TV, you run out in your yard, you want to like you pretend it's like the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs and you're up to bat. Like those are things that like everyone's kind of done, or like whatever sport you're into or whatever competitive thing you're into, you see it on TV, you like pretend that's what you're like at home, and like acting like that existing for cubing is like a very good thing. Like acting like that's like super elitist or like it's just like catering to the top competitors is really disingenuous because like that
Mm.
like is motivating for like so many kids who like see that and like wow, it's so cool if I practice really hard, like I can be up there too, I can do this. These are the opportunities that are there, and like yeah, like it takes a ton of work and like most people aren't going to get that, but that's fine. Like that's how like things always work, but like it doesn't mean that like working towards that goal and seeing that motivation is like worthless for everyone who doesn't like become like a super professional cuber. Like I think like there's thousands and thousands of college athletes that would say they were motivated by pro athletes that had a great time and a great NCAA experience and never had a chance of going pro, and still would say it was like I watch, like I swim in college, I watch pro swimming, I follow it as extremely like fun to see, and like I think there'd be less interest in swimming as a whole if like overall for me and like my colleagues if like there weren't pro meets and like the Olympics happened and like you could see worlds on TV and like all this stuff where like wow, that'd be so cool, and like you see this type of thing even though like I wasn't very good, like there was no chance
Yeah.
that like that was ever going to be a reality for me, but like that's just a very validating thing for you and your activity.
Absolutely. It's like I feel like this might be a stretch and I haven't thought this through, but bear with me, okay? So cuz like I feel like the arguments against cubing becoming more mainstream and being more visible is like the same arguments I hear kind of about women's sports. And I'll give you an example specifically, okay? Because, you know, my son's really into rugby. I love to watch the rugby with him. We went to our local to watch a game because they had Sky Sports, and we were there a bit early, and they were showing some women's NRL, right, the rugby league, and it's so good to watch, bro. It's so good to watch. And I had my daughter with me who could not, at that point, could not care less about rugby. She was like, I don't care. Stupid boy sport. I hate it. And then she obviously sees the women playing and she's like, oh, wait, okay, that's interesting. And then me and Charlie, my son, are watching it, and it was so good, man. It was so good. They're just these incredible women playing the game, and it's a good game to watch. It's different, but it's great to watch. But then Georgie, my daughter, sees women playing rugby, and she goes, oh, this is for me. I can do that. And now she's like, she comes along to some of the training sessions we do purely because she saw herself represented. She saw, she was given, almost like given permission by seeing it on TV. She was just like, oh, I can do that too. And she was like so enthused by it and is now like really enamored by this idea. And it's just about that exposure. It's just about seeing the thing. It's like, all right, you're at Google. I don't know if you're involved in ads or whatever, but it's just
No.
It's impressions. That's all we want is impressions. We want people to see cubing because the more impressions you get, the more conversions you'll get. Impressions, people getting eyeballs on a thing, will lead to a certain percentage of those people doing the thing. And it's like, I don't see any downside to that personally, you know? And Curious Nick as well. This is someone I've talked about on the stream. Curious Nick in the chat. It's why we need more girls in cubing. I would love to see girls creating content based on cubing because that's the only way that girls can go, well, sorry, that's not true. It is another way that girls can go, I can do this too. And that grows their participation, which I think is linked. So let's get into some specifics. All right. How much time have you got, by the way? Are you good or do you need to run off?
I got time.
Okay, sweet. I want to talk about Nats 2025. So post competitive arc, you've come back into the fold with a different sort of role. You are getting very much involved in the organizational side. You said which committee or which group are you in? Did you say?
Yeah, so I'm Cubing USA.
Cubing USA. Okay, sweet. Quite a big one, as it turns out.
Yeah, probably the biggest.
Yeah, right.
Organization there is.
So Nats 2025. I'm gonna need you to break down for me, firstly, maybe, and then potentially some people in the chat as well. Is it well, it may or may not be the first All-Star Nationals, but you can explain that. But the All-Star format, give us a bit of a rundown on what that is, where it's come from, how it's grown, and then we'll talk about Nats 2025.
Yeah, so the All-Star format there isn't like a mandated all-star format. It kind of just represents like we invited very few people or like there's extremely fast queue time, or for nationals, we're doing top N qualification in every single event. So there's no time you need to make the event. It's just when the registration closes, if you're top X on the psych sheet, you're in or you're not in. So like the all-star format really, like in the previously, I think all-star competitions have been restricted to only 3x3. There's only been a couple of them. They're just like 32 people or like some crazy fast queue time. Like I think it was like 7 or 6.5, like last NAC or something. I mean, if we did one for Worlds, it'd be like 6, but and then spaced out rounds, like the concept is like more spaced out rounds, really focusing on presentation value, like streaming the entire thing. We want people to watch, like, most of the main way to participate in this event is watching because versus like I think people really underestimate this value of the convention style competitions like world champs and nationals that we hold every year. Normal nationals, the large major Cubing USA holds every year is a convention style event, and we're doing that for Worlds this year, which is why nationals is the way it is. But like 90% of people's experience at these events, if you're not like super serious, is hanging out, meeting people, talking, watching. Like the actual competition part is a very small portion, especially for someone who does like 3 or 4 events, only does round 1. Like that takes what, like 90 minutes of your weekend? Like, yeah. But like it's interesting because if you remove that part, people wouldn't come. But like that's such a small part of the weekend. Like the main draw is like seeing a bunch of friends, meeting new people, like seeing all these people that share your interests and this event, and like there's other things to do besides like just do a few round 1s. And like I think like an all-stars format where like we're focusing more on like, okay, like we want people to come in person. We're gonna try and host a larger competition, an open competition in the same area at a very similar time. But like, is it feasible to host a competition where like the main thing to do for most people is just watch or just like come and hang out? And like, so that's kind of the logic behind that. And so it's definitely like a new format, and I think it's been like kind of toyed around with, and like it makes sense for nationals because I mean we're hosting a 2,000 person comp in Seattle. There are many logistical reasons why we can't host a 1,200 person comp in New England in the same year. So this is like a good opportunity to try something new out for this year, I think.
Yes. Okay. So you sort of alluded to it earlier, but Has there been pushback? Has there been community pushback on how you're shaping it?
I mean, there's always people that don't like it. Like, I think there's a couple. You see a couple comments like, "Oh, like everyone's supposed to be able to go to nationals," and I'm like, "Who told you that?" Like, I don't. No one said that. Like, who said
It's
that?
a lot of
I didn't say
assumptions.
it.
A lot of assumptions.
I
Hey,
was like, there's just. I think the main pushback. It's just a little bit of the archaic, like I kind of the way I phrase it. And not to. I mean, I get pretty heated about this topic sometimes, but like
let's go.
there, yeah, I mean, cubing for a very long time, like, there's a difference between cubing being for everybody, which it definitely is. There's a difference between cubing being for everybody and every cubing event being for you. And I think the people who are a little like against kind of the new style of things and trying new things out, like, want every part of cubing to be for them, and that's not realistic as cubing gets bigger, and frankly, it's very selfish. Like, Yihang and Little Timmy want different things out of their local competition. They straight up, like, they don't need the same thing. They don't want the same thing. Like, the experience they're looking for is very, very different. And to like have only one competition to cater to like everyone on like the spectrum of like how serious cubers are, like, just like doesn't even make sense anymore. And like you can get that middle ground with a convention style competition, but like as we've seen at Worlds, like, we're kind of hitting the limit of like how many people can we put at one competition? Like, we have 1,980 people signed up for 3x3. Like, that is a logistical. Like, I am not on the logistics side of like running the comp. Like, that is a crazy impressive achievement just by itself. And like, I don't think people are going to be like we can't host a 10,000 person comp. This is just it's just not doable. Like, I think people I have no doubt this comp's gonna go really well. I've seen all the work being put into it, and like at some point, like, you just can't have that many people. And like we already saw at Worlds with 2,000 people, like, I think 100. Everyone who signed up in the first 90 minutes of Phase 4 got in, which is actually quite good because if you were paying attention, that means you got in because 90 minutes is quite a long time for Phase 4. But like we already saw, like, you can't go if you're a new like we already Worlds already cuts out the new competitors and it cuts out like the more casual competitors, and also it does a really good job. I think Worlds style like the convention style comps do a really, really good job of catering to ranks like 3 through 40, where like there's a lot of rounds for those ranks. You get a lot of recognition. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. But I think it doesn't do as quite as well for like the newer competitors, and it doesn't do quite as good of a job for like these super, super mega top competitors either. Because I think they actually at this point deserve a little more, like in an event like an all-star competition where like a competitor like me now who's in that middling good ranks, like I'm not no lifing cubing and like spending my entire time, and this is not my job, but like to be like number one, number two in the world in these events, like this is like your entire life. Like this, you put so much time and effort into it, and like these world competitions and these huge convention style events are like really great, and I think do a really solid job of like showcasing that and giving you a platform. But like that kind of still existed a long time ago, like in my day in the late 20 teens, and I think cubing's gotten bigger to where like we could do more for that. Like there's like that tier is like more serious now as like cubing gets bigger, the ends get more like elongated, and like that very, very top tier of cuber like deserves a little more, which I think Nationals is doing a pretty good job of. But like, oh my god, I went like so I'm like completely. And then oh yeah, the pushback. There we go.
Yeah,
The original point I was
that's
at,
where we were.
but yeah, like as cubing gets bigger, there's like so many different people that want different things, and like I think just having like it kind of makes sense naturally to me. Like cubing is for everybody, and like there's a different event for every person, but like not every single event's going to be for every person. Like these like just like USA cubing USA this year is a good example. Like we have national all-star nationals, which is like super catered to like the Max Park, the Luke Garrett, the very, very tippy top person. We have world champs, which is very well catered to like those people and the next like 30 people on the ranks, and does a really good job if you're like a pretty very serious casual solver. And then if you're kind of in that like second half of people at Worlds, like we also have the regional championship competition, Southeast Championship, Northeast Championships, which do a really great job at like the regional, like for people who are pretty solid in their region, don't take this too crazily, but like that's a really good event for them. And there's hundreds of locals all over like all over the country every weekend that are just like super relaxed, just like for absolutely like really not the competitions that they're really there's like newcomer month like stuff that's specifically like I went to one where it's like 150, 160 people on 3x3. Like 75% are making the next round. Like these are the events that are really welcoming. Like everyone can come, but like they're really focused on like getting people more solves and get like they're gonna have a lot of new competitors and like there is definitely like you can look at the way the USA is structured for competitions and there's something for everybody.
Mm.
And like but it's like pretty clear now that like not every event is like catered towards everybody. And I think that's just like not only like it's just like a natural result of keeping getting bigger and like it makes like if you can find the events like there's lots of different events you can go to and like there will be something that's like specifically really good for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see that to an extent, even in New Zealand. Like, as someone who is not particularly fast, because I don't practice, it's like even nationals in New Zealand is like it's not a great value proposition for me because it's like, well, I'll get first rounds in a couple of things, and then I've got nothing to do for 2 days, really. You know,
Right.
I'll just judge and run for 2 days, and it's like, well, that's not worth plane tickets and accommodation and all that kind of stuff. It's just that like nationals is just it's not worth it. Whereas a smaller comp, exactly what you're saying. If there's a 75% cut off, I'm like, ooh, okay, well now I've got a chance. You know, I can't touch anything at nationals. It's just it's really tough. It's still nice to go, and you know, Curious Nick in the chat, the social aspect is important. It's still nice to go. So if I can go, I'll go along. Like we had nationals in the city I live in last year, and I went along just to say hey. I literally didn't even compete in that one. I just went along to say good day, and that was about it. But yeah, just and doubling back to a point you made about Worlds, I'm just looking at the schedule now. So for 3x3 first round, they must be running 2 stages because it's like it's in the schedule twice on the Saturday, 1:45 to sorry,
We're running 10 stages.
10 stages.
Yeah, 6 downs. There's so to make the schedule possible to read, the dark blue is downstairs, hall 4, the main hall, and upstairs is green, hall 6 or
Okay.
4-6.
So it's 1:45 to 4:15. So what's that? 3.5? Wait, 1:45. 2.5 hours on 10 stages. So what's that?
There's like
20
100 different like groups.
25 hours. 25 hours combined to grind through. Did you say 1900 compared to 1980?
I think it's something like that. Let me check.
Like it's incredible. It's actually amazing. Curious Nick is staff and competing at Worlds as well. Patrick Ponce in the chat, staffing this year. At Nats, I help more than I compete at Curious Nick. That's kind of my life at any comp I go to, really. I'll do my first rounds, I won't get through, and then I'm just a judge for the rest of the time. Because a lot of people go home after that. That's the reality is you start the comp with loads of people. If we do a 2-day comp in New Zealand, lots of people, and then everyone leaves, and we're scrabbling around for judges and runners and things like that, and scramblers by the finals. Patrick saying in the chat, it's just 10 200-person comps, easy. That's a great frame of mind. I like it.
Yeah, we have 1,972 signed up for 3x3, so
that's
it's a kind of expensive comp. So like, we'll definitely have over 1,800. There'll be a bunch of like no shows, of course, as there always is. But
yeah,
it'll be the biggest comp ever by a huge margin, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about, so we're getting distracted by Worlds, but we're talking about nationals. So forgive me, All Stars. It's All Stars? It just is it the same average of 5? Everything's still WCA. Well, it has to be because it's still WCA, right? So, but is it? There's no knockout or anything like that. Is it head to head? What do we mean? Like at a base level, what do we mean when we say All Stars?
Yeah, so we have it's top end qualifications. So for 3x3, it's top 32. For 2x2, 4x4, 5x5, one-handed, Pira, and Scube, it's top 16. For FMC, it's top 12. And for everything else, it's top 8. And so each round we have like half an hour. Let me look at the schedule again.
Yeah, looks like it.
We have a lot of, like, the schedule is very like spaced out. We have a lot of time. We're going to announce every single round, even for rounds like we do 8 people at a time, all stationary. Even for rounds with 16 people, the first 8 will come out and compete, and the second 8 will be like sequestered backstage, and we'll use the same scrambles, and then they'll come out, and we'll like announce everyone for every round. It's very focused on streaming. Happy Feet's signed on to do the production for the streams, so I mean we've put in so much work for the world stream already. It'd be like copy paste, and we'll have like already so much more stuff than we need for Nats. So it'd be really great to like use all that stuff again. And then yeah, there's not only 3x3 finals is head to head, top 8, but everything else is like we have half an hour for every final, which is a decent amount of time. For Worlds we have 25 minutes, which is definitely plenty of time, and so we can also like even with half an hour at Nats we have a little more time. Like we can space things out a little bit. We can make sure we get people staggered on their solves, so not everyone's going exactly the same time. Just like some nice quality of life stuff for the stream. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty. I think like we're only estimating like 100 people will like be there, something like that. But it'd be in an auditorium spectator seating. It'll be very like spectator focused event, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, cool. I like that. It's what I've yapped about with people like Matt Mayernick and with Dylan and with Michael Chai. Like it's broadcast outcomes is what we want, you know. Broadcast outcomes are the things that will grow the sport and will expose more people to it. But the traditional WCA comp, no hate, they're great. They get people into cubing. That's awesome. But they're not made to be they're not made explicitly to be spectator events. They're made to churn competitors in that everyone gets to play format, which is fine. But you do need to play around with that in the way that you're doing with US Nationals to what's the word I'm trying to look for, to prioritize those broadcast outcomes and those great moments that are easy for people to digest, because we have those moments in WCA format competitions, we do, or traditional format competitions, but you need to do maths and you need to understand a lot about the format, and it's very difficult, and it seems silly because it's not that complicated, but the more barriers that you can remove for normies to understand what's going on, the more of an effective outcome you will have from that event is my take on it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely. Like if you tune in and then like to even start watching, you need to understand this rule and X, Y, and Z. It's like very hard to get going, and like you want something where even if you don't understand full, like if you watch an NFL broadcast, there are a million rules in the NFL and so many nuances, and it's crazy, and like, but you don't need to know anything. You just need to know, gotta get the ball to this line. That's like really all you need to know to watch the game and be like, okay, cool, I know what's going on. So like, that's like, there's such a low barrier to entry that like for cubing, like I think the NAC broadcast did a decent job last year where like putting even something simple like putting graphics on screen. Okay, X needed to win. Just need this to win. Here's the live ranking. Like we have an F1 style live ranking, just like people shuffling around, like making things more digestible. If you just have a little more time to do this, it helps out a lot. And so like that's what we're definitely like. I mean, I'm thinking about that a lot for the world stream, and then all the ideas like for the world stream will be carried over to the Nat stream, of course.
Yeah.
So.
Have we revealed who's going to be the commentators for Nationals USA? Because this is a big one that people get hung up on. And Nick's saying it in the chat. Yeah, much depends on the commentator. It absolutely does. People have different opinions about commentators and things. I suppose that's a question for Matt Mayernick potentially. But do you know who's in line for commentary on Nationals?
For Nationals, no, I run the team, but no, we haven't. I'll see. Nationals is very like we got it going. It's all set up. We're very good, but like Worlds is in 2 weeks, so I'm like,
oh, of course.
Nat's planning starts in like 5 weeks.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my timeline's all screwed up. Okay, so yeah, Worlds. Do we have? So wait a minute. You're running the, or you're part of the team running the broadcast for Worlds?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of basically all things production value for Worlds, which includes the stream.
Okay. Sorry, I should have clarified that for the people in the chat earlier on. So you're part, yeah, you're that's your role in the Worlds, and you're the same role for Nationals.
Yeah, I mean it's the same team. Keeping USA org team is doing nationals too. So
Of course.
Nats there's less to do because it's not there's not like a million moving parts, obviously, and like but yeah, it'll be similar. Run the stream, assemble the commentary team, make the schedule, plan kind of how the cadence of the finals is going to go, like what the MC is going to do, how we're going to like do announcements and everything, how the timing is going to work out, like a lot of small stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating. Um, what did I want to ask? Hold on a minute. I'm brain farting. Hold on. It's coming back to me. What? So, commentators. That's what we were talking about. We don't know who commentators are for Worlds yet.
There'll be a post about it very soon
Okay.
on the QA side, so I'll let that happen.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Is the national no Nationals isn't on the WCA yet, or can I just not find it?
Oh, it's on WCA. It's Rubik's X the Cubicle Cubing USA All Stars 2025.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we gotta pay for it somehow.
No, hell yeah. No, get that bank, get it paid for. And that's another thing, right? If you want professional people and you want professional outcomes, that's not free. You've got to pay people for that. And the people who are doing this stuff are people who are your age, who are Matthew Manick's age. They are professionals. They are people who are doing this stuff professionally, and to not pay them would be just silliness. It's just that's not going to happen. And where do you think that's come from? We're going slightly off script here. Where do you think the attitude of Cube's good, money bad? Where like to really really dumb it down? But where do you think that attitude has come from in cubing? Like why do you think we're dealing with that?
Oh, well, I mean, the way I kind of, it kind of makes sense for like cubing's been volunteer run for ever and ever and ever. And so when you have like as you kind of transition into like, okay, well, some of these services we're asking for, like we're trying to hire a professional production company, like you can't run volunteers for a video production service if you want a good quality like outcome. And so like some of these things are more clear cut. You got to pay for that. Like if you're gonna go like I mean the production companies in Korea and I think Euros were like third party, and so obviously just gotta use money. But since keeping so volunteer run, I can see it makes a lot of sense why like okay, what now we do need to pay for some things of what things are gonna get paid, and then people that have been doing this as a volunteer for years feel like resentful of the fact that like in like a totally valid way of like okay well like we're paying this person to do something that I did for free for so long, and so like it's hard to change a culture like that even when you maybe need to just because it's been run for so long. um and I think it's pretty reasonable that like people like I'm very much like I understand why it's hard to like get that mindset going, but it's also kind of like some things will just like it's getting too big. You need people to be like legitimate paid staff to like do some of these things because like at some point you can't run this like huge event as like purely volunteers. It's just like not very logistically possible.
Yeah, I mean, again another thing I've yapped about. I'd like to see like change like that kind of comes from the top. I would love to see the WCA put money into a paid CEO. Like someone running operations and being paid for it to do it professionally, I think would be a change that would, lead by example is not always a great strategy or a foolproof strategy, but I feel like that might be good because I feel, especially when we were back in the sliding stuff that happened at the end of last year and the board were really under the pump, bro. And like I was looking at that, and I've been on boards and I am on boards, and I'm like far out. I wouldn't want to be involved in that because that soaks up so much time. What do you think?
It is wild how much time is donated for free by organizers and WCA staff members, and like it's kind of like interesting where like any people that are in this like can see it and are like, wow, people should be getting paid for this. And then also like once you pay someone, it's like, well, I'm not getting paid. Why are they getting paid? And so it's like you kind of when you're like switching, it's kind of hard and like, um, yeah, I mean, the board put like there's like I don't understand. Like I've been working so much on Worlds and like I am just like like I'm just like one of the team members of like a regional organizing team. Worlds is a big competition, obviously, but like it's crazy how much work like I'm doing, realizing that like other people are doing much more work and like the board is like so busy and like it's all volunteer work is like yeah, I would personally not have a problem with them hiring like a full-time CEO or like a staff like paying people like at the high staff levels because like that is like so much time and effort.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, even school boards, you do get like a nominal amount for turning up to your board meetings. Like it's not completely volunteer. It's a volunteer role because you have the opportunity to say yes or no to your money you're offered at the end of the year. But like, there is money. Like we saw the financials at the end of 2024. There is money. Competitions overall are making money, and the WCA has money in the bank. And it seems I don't know. I'm probably missing context, almost certainly missing context, but I feel like it's just a no-brainer. Just like you've got a great board, let the board do board things. Let a CEO, a chief executive officer, be or a COO, operations officer, someone whose job it is to run the operations of the WCA. I feel like it can only lead to better outcomes, But I saw Chang in the chat. This is an interesting one. I'm not involved in church or whatever like that, but Chang is saying, wait, what did he say? He said something like small church mentality. Here we go. You won't get cancelled, Chang. You're good. We call it small church mentality in a church that's grown to be a large church. You end up thinking the church can keep running the same way as it did with 20 people when there's 1,000 people, but it just doesn't work like that. More people, more problems. More money, more problems, and it becomes a big beast that you have to wrestle with to keep it running properly. Is my
Oh
view.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely just like it's. Like I see, like we are limited now, and like things have to like we are. I mean, the WCA is changing, and like we're seeing these types of things, but like it's maybe we're a little behind the curve on like some of the things we should probably be doing to get things like to adapt to like how big cubing has become and how much like money there just like inherently is in it now. Like that's just like part of the game.
Yeah. Okay, listen, we've been yapping for ages. I should probably let you go. There's one final, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, particularly.
I don't know. I'm excited for Worlds. Worlds is gonna be sick. Like it's gonna be crazy. I'm really excited. I've been putting a ton of work into the finals production. We're gonna have things will just like without a lot of effort, things are just like a little bit nicer. We got a little more time for finals. We got a lot of fancy stuff going on. So if you're not going, make sure you tune into the stream because it's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, and that's a great link to the question I was going to ask. This is the one everyone wants to know, okay? Who's winning 3x3 at Worlds?
Oh, Yihang's gonna, of course.
Yihang's going to win?
He's gonna win. Like, what were we even talking about? Like, come on, people. Like, what are we talking about? He's gonna win. Like, it's like, I mean, okay, yeah, Juan might win. I don't know, but like, Yihang's gonna win. Like, Yihang is the only person where, like, anything except winning is a disaster. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, he has to win, or it's like a disaster. He's the best in the world.
I will be actually devastated if he doesn't. Like because of the story, right? Speedcubing TV in the chat talking about the story. The story, it has to be Yihang. Like he's who I want to win. But
he has 73 of the top 100 averages.
Yeah, there is that. And I feel like he's better at nerves now. He had some issues in major championships, hey, where people have thought, certainly this is a Western perspective, we haven't heard his words, we haven't heard him talking about it, but we perceive it as nerves affecting him in major finals. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it gets harder as you get older. Like nerves, in the sense that like it's like you get more experience with them. So it's I think maybe it gets a little easier and then it gets harder because like you get more experience with the nerves and then you get a little older and you're like, oh my god, this is my entire life. Like this is like you know beforehand that like this is gonna be a defining moment in your life and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
kind of big deal. Versus like when you're just starting out, you're like you look back and you're like, wow, that's a pretty big deal. But like I didn't know it at the time. And so like I think Yihang's still young enough and like he's on that like he's only been to one Worlds, didn't go very well, and he's on that like redemption grind, but he's still young, so he's not like this is not his like entire like life. He's still very young. And so like I think he's in that sweet spot of like I mean, like this guy is definitely at home practicing comp style every single day, probably practicing like head-to-head final style, like because like honestly, making finals is free for him. His worst average in his last 20 is like 5.2. That's going to be like top 5 seeds.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure he's got a coach. He's very serious. I'm sure he's practicing this like head-to-head, so like everything right, and like I think he's at that point where like he will come and he competes well. And he will execute, and he doesn't even need to execute that well to win. Like, it would take Zhuan Yi doing extremely well or someone else doing crazy well to beat him. Like,
Yeah.
I think anyone, like, I think, yeah, you can be like, oh, maybe this other person will win as, like, kind of like a fun pick. But, like, if you're, like, seriously, like, who has the highest statistical odds of winning, it's Yihang, and it's, like, not even remotely close.
Yeah, right.
And, like, so... Big on Yihang winning.
He's definitely favorite. He's definitely favorite. Zhuang, interesting. It was so funny when Yihang got the average. He got the sub 4 average, and then Zhuang Yi beat him in finals. I thought that was quite interesting. I was like, oh, hold on a minute now. That's wild, but it is what it is. I guess Yihang was probably coming down off a lot of adrenaline after that round where he got the 308, the 391. I beg your pardon. But we had breaking news in the chat, actually. Patrick Ponce says he's going to win Worlds. So there we are. It's decided. Patrick's going to take it. Where is Patrick on the site sheet? Hold on a minute. I'm going to call you out, Patrick. Hold on.
Files.
Okay, seed 24. Okay.
Doable.
Coming in hot with the 557 PR. All right. Okay, Patrick, we see you.
Who asked about, yes, Max is, who's going to win 6 and 7? Max will win 6 and 7. Like, it'd be crazy for him to lose either of those.
I agree. I think that would be. He's only got and 6. Seung Hyuk Nam is only a second behind him for the average on 6x6. But you're the expert here.
Oh, the thing about 6 and 7 is those like world rankings are like a little misleading. Like people on the average for 6 and 7, they have like their like best time ever. Like as their PR, it's like their at-home PB, like really close. And Max is a little faster, but Max like averages in comp what these people get is their like best time ever, and it's like he's like, yeah, some miracle could happen. It's a Mina 3, anything can happen, but like Max is a slam dunk huge favorite, and yes, very high variance because of Mina 3, but like, I mean, Max is, oh my god, his last 10 6x6 averages. Like his worst one is 112 and his second worst one's 110. Like it's unlike like 110 will win on almost every, like 110 is gonna win almost every single time. Like 7x7 he's a little shakier, but like 145 is gonna win 7x7, and Max gets that almost every single time as well. So like
yeah, right.
I mean like people are capable of getting under 145, but like do I think anyone else is gonna do it in the final at Worlds? Like no. Like, the only way I could see it happening is if someone gets, like, 148, 148, 135. Like, some crazy average with a good single on the last one. Because you get that good single on the second one, and you know you got the chance to win and beat Max, but you still, like, oh, man, I got a 135. But, like, that's still not enough. Like, I gotta go crazy. Like, I think it's going to be too much.
Now, I tell you what, actually, that's leading me on to an interesting final question, postscript question. Your perspective as a big cube solver, and I'm only just considering this now, but now you're mentioning it, Yeah, when you land if you're doing 7x7 and you land a you land something. Hold on a minute, I don't have perspective on 7x7. I've forgotten the number you said. Yeah, so you land a couple of 130s. And you're like, sweet, we're on. Well, 130 somethings, okay, 130 somethings. And you're like, oh dang, I'm on. You've still got 4.5, nearly 5 minutes of solving time ahead of you in the average. How much does that get in your head in 7x7 compared to one of the sprint events like 3x3 or something? Is it that because you've competed in both at a high level? How much more, I suppose, mental discipline do you need in the big cube events to keep your cool when you know you're on a run?
Yeah, big cubes are something else just because the Mina 3 format is
Oh,
so
of course.
like
Yeah, sorry.
unforgiving and like it's so unforgiving. It's so the dynamic is entirely different in these finals, I feel like, because like you can really like you just lose it all on like one bad solve. It's just all over. But also you only need that one kind of stupid single and like you're in it. So like it's really like one solve at a time, and it's really hard to actually do that. And I think like the best way to do a good average is to do normal solve, crazy single. Because getting a crazy single and then two normal solves is so much harder. Like it's because you have that in the back of your mind, like, oh my god, like this is gonna be it. Like you get that stupid single and you're like, don't waste it, or like this is it. You gotta like just like hold it together. But like if you're on normal pace, you can feel like keep feeling normal, and then it's like when you do that, you're in that normal zone, and you're just kind of like flowing, and then all of a sudden you get something crazy. Um, but like I think it really Mina 3 events really especially like favor the people who know they're gonna win. Like
Interesting.
you just show up and you like you know you're gonna win. You don't need like I don't care. I don't need to not count a solve. Like I know I'm gonna win. I'm gonna just do my three solves and beat everyone. Like because there's less margin for error, like I think the average of 5 events like give a little bit like it's actually easier in a sense of like, okay, we can kind of we got one solve to work with. Maybe I'm not mentally on it, but like we're fine. Versus like Mina 3, like you have to be super confident every single time. Like you just know you're gonna win and like show up and do it. Versus because like or you just have to be like super lax and you get that one single and they're like, okay, well, I guess we're having a good time. Maybe something crazy will happen. But I always felt much more confident, at least in the big cube, in like the Mina 3 events. Like if I like when I like the key for me was always like I have to know I'm gonna win or else it gets real shaky real fast.
Yeah, okay. That yeah, so you got to have that mindset. Yeah, I got completely messed up. I completely forgot that mean of three exists. I don't do big cubes because I never make the cutoff or the time limit or whatever. Whichever one means you're just like see you later DNF. But
Yeah.
Patrick's just saying in the chat, oh, a crazy single start like Kevin Hayes 2013 7 final. I'm just trying to look that up now. Is that when you got was that the WR single?
Oh, it was almost WR single. I remember I like knew it was really close to WR single and had a G perm and was like, I'm gonna take this slow because it's the world final. And like I missed WR by like a second or so, but it was a tactical decision and no regrets, that's for sure.
Okay. That's what that one was. All right. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, there we are. Um, yeah.
And that was an example of like I knew I was gonna win, and so like that didn't phase me as much because I was like, oh, that's expected. Also, it helped that I had gotten a 223 warming up like 30 minutes earlier, and I was like, I'm on. This is it. like, and so like, but like, yeah, like, even getting like if I was pretty good at that time but didn't believe in the win and got that single, I probably would have totally lost it and been like, oh my god, like we can do it, like it's gonna happen. Versus like, oh no, we're this good. This is expected. This is just yeah, almost world record. That's the part of the plan. Like we're just keep going type thing.
Yeah, right. So that's the mindset is I'm here to win. Go in with that mindset.
Yeah, you got to believe it.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Kevin. I'm gonna let you go. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for asking all those questions. I cannot wait to watch Worlds. Honestly, I'm really looking
Thank
forward.
you. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited. Hopefully, we'll get. We're the stream team is hoping for the winner's decided on the final solve. That's all I want, you know?
That's all we want. We just want the plot. We're here for the plot, and then we want all
You
of
want-
our plot lords. We want Speedcubing TV, and we want StewCube to just take that plot and then just like turn it into something epic. That's what we love to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want that. I just want that X to win on the screen for the last solve.
Yes, that's honestly, that is like instant gratification for anyone watching. It's just like, he needs to get this. Watch. Oh, okay.
Right.
You know?
It's the most digestible clip ever. Like, and that's it. And we'll cut instantly to whoever wins to get the reaction. Like, it'll be like, that's the dream.
Yes.
But
That's very
whatever
important.
happens, you know.
Yeah, no, epic. Listen, thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and yeah, I'll be watching Worlds with interest. Everyone watching knows the deal by now, but essentially, I'm gonna cut to my main screen, and then I'm gonna hang up on you, and it'll feel very rude on your end, but it is what it is. These are the behind the curtain secrets. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have an awesome day, and yeah, best of luck for the stream and everything.
All right, thanks.
Peace. See ya. All right, there we are, everyone. That was Kevin Hayes.